Hi, we're the Rails, and welcome to the Blues Kitchen.
The Rails are a folk rock band from London, consisting of husband and wife duo Cammy Thompson and James Wolbourne. We met up to discuss their new record, Cancel the Sun, produced by legendary British producer Stephen Street. The guys also tell us about life on the road as a married couple, and they perform a breathtaking version of On the Mighty Ocean Alcohol by Bap Kennedy. And while you're watching, like this video and subscribe to the channel for regular episodes of the Blues Kitchen Presents. The Rails!
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to Blues Kitchen.
Thanks.
So we've just had a little bit of a sneak preview of your record until you just played a little while ago, which we'll see shortly.
Yep.
I'd only heard 2 tracks from the record.
Okay.
But I understand you made the record with Stephen Street, is that right?
Yep.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about the formation of the record and how it came together.
We knew we wanted to make this record here, and we're not up for getting on a plane. We wanted to be able to take our time. So we were trying to think of where and who in London we could work with, and we just kind of pulled the thread on an idea of I've been thinking about wondering actually who'd done Graham Coxon's solo records. I love that sort of guitar sound, and James said, "Oh, maybe that's Stephen Street." It was, and we sort of his discography is
Rather impressive.
very
Back
impressive.
to the Smiths.
And we started,
And we knew Blur and everything. We knew that he'd done the Blur records, but we didn't think he'd be up for it. But
No,
so in the course of a couple of days, we just sort of reached out, and it was all booked in within like 48
it was
hours.
very
It was
quick.
very quick.
And funnily enough, at the end of the day, we recorded it
in about 9 days.
In about 9 days, like the quickest we've ever recorded anything. So we didn't spend any more time in it. But he was just so
He's great.
brilliant and methodical, and he's just a great producer and engineer, and we
And
were
the
lucky.
2 tracks I heard are Call Me When It All Goes Wrong and Mossy Well. Now, they're wildly different from one another. First being more of a kind of rock and roller, really. It's even got a kind of like slightly punky kind of aggression going onto it. Mossy Well is much more kind of traditional folk. So where does that lead us for the album? We're on 50-50.
There's a lot. I mean, it's...
I say that Mossy Well's kind of the bridge track from the last record.
Okay.
Which segues into, and it kind of expands out into the more... Bless you.
Bless you.
Oh, first of
First of a few.
First of a few, yeah.
Yes, I reckon that's the bridge track, and then we've sort of expanded into this other territory that we've wanted to inhabit for a while.
It's definitely more experimental for us and what we've done. I think we feel a lot more comfortable with what we've done. The styles are just us, really. You know, instead of just... But it all sort of fits together because Stephen's produced it, and it all hangs together as a record. But it explores every one of our influences, I guess.
So Mossy Well, excuse my ignorance here,
Yeah.
but as soon as I went on to Google that, because I wanted to watch the video again this morning, the first thing that came up, I think, was a pub in Muswell Hill.
Yeah.
Is there any link whatsoever?
There is. That's very good.
Yeah.
Cammy wrote the lyrics for that one, and Mossy Well actually is what Muswell Hill was called back in the...
Really?
Yeah, about 100, I don't know, 150 years, I don't know, however long. Forgive me, but about 150 years ago, say. Yeah. And it's called Mossy Well. And then they
that's why the pub's called the Mossy Well.
built this pub.
I see.
It's also about drinking yourself to death. So
And if you go up there,
some cheery subjects on your new album, isn't there?
it's a Weatherspoons. So you know that they could be like.
Okay, not necessarily your local as such.
No,
or is
although
it?
I'm from Muswell Hill originally, and
I love a Weatherspoons.
it ties in.
It's the touring kind of the backbone of touring Britain, isn't it?
God,
The Weatherspoons.
Oh, I hope not.
So yeah, before meeting you guys, your parents, obviously, we can't get away from the fact that kind of some of the most famous British folk musicians.
I've been trying to get away from them for years. Barely see them at all. It's great.
But then, obviously, you come from background playing with the Pretenders, and we were talking about Edwyn Collins and all these kind of things as well. Does folk bring you both together? Obviously, that's what you've made. And you say this record's kind of taken you in a slightly different direction, but was that the first music that you played together?
It was. We had an idea of what we wanted to do then.
Yeah.
We sort of had that first record was a real idea. Our first idea was to make a really heavy folk record. Okay. Like 2 electric guitars and, almost like Neil Young, Ragged Glory folk, English folk. Was what we talked about when we first met, but that didn't happen. And we sort of, you know.
And then
like
we
a
invited you here
70s
today with 2 acoustic guitars. Yeah. Okay.
We've been trying to, but we're getting nearer to doing that.
When you go out on the road, it must be lovely as well, you know, you hear all these things.
God, no.
And, you know, bands go out a lot of the time. I've done it. You bicker with everyone, you know. But when it's the two of you, I know you go out with the band as well. But it must be lovely to be able to take yourselves out on the road together.
It's cheap.
Come on, say something nice. Say something nice about each other.
No, we have. No,
We spend a lot of time together.
We
It's a testament to the fact that we do rate each other, that we can still spend any time together at all.
Yeah.
I think in hours we've probably been married for about 50 years.
Well, it's an
Normal
interesting
couple,
one. Is
yeah.
I've got a few friends, husband and wives, in band situations, and being on the road is obviously very, very intense. And one of them said to me, "It's like I feel like we've been married for 4 lifetimes."
Oh yeah.
You know, and they didn't mean that in a negative way, but it's like.
But
know
you
each
have,
other.
if you do the maths, like a normal couple, if you both work full days, that's, you know, you maybe get 4 or 5 evenings a week where you're in the same house, not necessarily doing, you maybe spend the day together on a Saturday. I mean, stack those hours up. We have been married for f***ing ever.
It's true. There's no getting around it.
No.
All right.
Are we in the middle of something? Is it turning
No,
into couples
no, that's fine.
therapy?
Yeah,
or-
it's
We're
fine.
good. We're good.
Maybe we should move on to your cover that you picked. We always invite our guests to come in, and you picked a tune by Bap Kennedy.
Yep.
Which you're going to have to remind me the title of, because it's a
called-
bit of a mouthful. This
It
one.
is. It's On the Mighty Ocean Alcohol. And
May I ask why you picked that tune?
yeah, well, Bap was a great friend of mine, and he taught me an awful lot, actually, about music. And I was in his band since I was probably, I don't know, 19 or so. I was traveling with him. I mean, he died about a couple of years ago now from cancer, and he was one of the best songwriters we had. He was from Belfast, but he was one of the best songwriters you can ever hear, really. And it was just tragic the way he died when he was about 52, I think.
Okay.
And that's just one of his songs, and it's just a masterpiece, really. And actually, that song on the record had Shane MacGowan on the last verse. And when we recorded it, I actually recorded that Shane's part at the Boogaloo pub in Highgate in the kitchen at about 4 in the morning.
I bet that
with
was
my old
challenging.
recorder and just like that. Yeah, it was. It was challenging, but that was a nice piece of sort of history.
So you
on
were
that.
on the original recording as well. So quite often when people come in and do covers, I will ask, okay, so when did you first hear this tune? I mean, obviously you heard it because you were playing, but I will also ask, what did you necessarily learn from that song? But because you were there so hands-on, you probably learned a lot more than just from that tune.
It was called On the Mighty Ocean Alcohol. We did it at 4 a.m. at the Boogaloo with Shane MacGowan. What did I learn from it? Probably to drink loads or not drink
Less.
loads. Whatever you think. Yeah, it's an education.
How to keep hold of your teeth.
It's fucking
Unlike
education.
Shane.
Plus, I mean, it is a great, as a song,
And it's just a great
great lesson in how to write a killer song with actually only 3 chords. I mean, it's
Bap had an amazing.
there's no key change
Knack.
in the
No.
original, is there? There's just 2 chords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less is
There's
more.
only
Bap-
3 in because we do a key change.
Yeah,
Let's
Bap
take a
had an
verse.
amazing knack of writing all songs with like 3 chords, but they all were so different, and they were just. He's still one of my favourite songwriters ever, and I miss him an awful lot. I could tell you that. One of the best guys as well.
Well, I think it might be time for some music then, if that's all right.
Okay.
If you'd be kind enough to introduce your performance.
Okay. Hi, we're the Rails, and this is a song by Bap Kennedy called On the Mighty Ocean Alcohol. Leave behind your worries. They're really very small. Come with me, set sail with me on the mighty ocean alcohol. I sailed around insanity. I heard those demons call.
Once or twice I have been capsized on the mighty ocean alcohol, on the mighty ocean alcohol.
Lost my darling brother, watched him slowly fall, and with the spray he was swept away on the mighty ocean alcohol, on the mighty ocean alcohol. Leave behind your worries, they're really very small. Come with me, set sail with me on the mighty ocean alcohol, on the mighty ocean alcohol.
Subscribe to the Blues Kitchen for live performances and interviews with the hottest blues, soul, country and roots musicians in the world today.
Do what we want just this one time. We've had you